Will you pray with me? Gracious and holy God, may the meditations of my heart, the words of my lips, bring glory to you, my rock and my redeemer. Amen. Charles Schulz cartoon, Peanuts. Linus is watching television. His big sister, Lucy, comes in and says, I don't want to watch that program. I want to watch my program. Linus wants to be left alone and says, okay, I'll go upstairs and listen to the radio. Lucy follows him. Linus sits down next to the radio and she growls, I don't want to listen to that program. I don't listen to my program. Linus stares at her and says, fine. I'll go to the next room and play with my records. Lucy trots along right behind him and yells, I don't want to listen to those records. I want to listen to my records. Exasperated, Linus turns to the door and says, okay, I'll go outside and look at the stars for a while. Once again, Lucy follows him and shouts, I don't want to look at those stars. I want to look at... Then she stops, glares at her little brother, sighs loudly, and walks away. Lucy, a fish out of water. Had she finished her sentence, I want to look at my stars, she would have looked really foolish. This Peanuts illustration exemplifies a dualism. Dualism with a restrictive scenario representing sometimes two kinds of faith. Lucy is a small faith, which essentially says, I believe in me and nothing else. Linus's faith is far greater. And as he points out to his sister, when he points to the stars, which are neither his nor hers, they cannot be claimed by anyone. The parable that we heard this morning might also appear dualistic. There are goats and there are sheep. You're one or the other. And that is what the world, in our modern American, you're with me or against me, philosophy of life would have us believe. As always, it just isn't that simple. There's more to the story. There is the gospel. Jesus is the great leveler, the one who turns things upside down, only to reverse them around again. And Jesus is in the house. Once he has shocked his listeners out of their own self-righteousness, he switches to a non-dual mode and encourages universal compassion. Just as you did it for one of the least of these, who are members of my family, you did it for me. Connecting what we do for others with what we do for him. And essentially, what we do for God and what we do in the name of love, for the sake of love. In relating his compassionate wake-up call to his own life, Jesus breaks down this dualism. And if we're really hearing his message today, he's tapping away at our own dualism. In the end, Jesus suggests there's only one valid answer, which is love. Wherever love is inhibited or restricted or selective, spiritual death will surely follow. Perhaps you're familiar with the French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre, who said, hell is other people. That's that mindset. Where love flourishes, the good news of God is alive, strangers are welcomed, enemies are loved, hungry are fed, the sick are healed, and the good news reaches everyone, even those in captivity. Now, the fascinating thing about Scripture is that depending on where you are in your life, you will hear something different. I've been a student of Scripture for some time, and I know this parable pretty well, and I heard something this week in my study. I've never heard, to the extent that I heard it this week, how surprised they were. Both of them. When did I feed you, Jesus? When didn't I feed you, Jesus? They were both surprised. Both groups. It's new information to them that how they treat one another is connected to how one would treat God Himself. A kindness to God. That is new to me as well. I'm being kind to God. That is powerful. And we forget that Christ lives in each and every one of us. We forget to treat one another with the same love that we would treat the divine. This is our reminder. Christ lives inside each person. Look around the room. You're surrounded by Christ in human form. We're being reminded to treat one another with the same heart that we would treat our brother Jesus, no less. People with that Linus sort of faith are open and listen with their hearts, their mind's eye. Their spirituality is mystical and non-dualistic. It's complex. People with the Lucy sort of faith are fearful. They trust only their own minds. Their spirituality, ego-driven and dualistic. In our country today, we're contending with agents of cunning and vicious power. As followers of Jesus Christ, we are being reminded today to step up, to seek justice for all those pushed to the margins. Even though we may be tempted to retreat, and we are certainly tempted to remain silent, Jesus is leading us forward. He bids us to see His face in the face of each person who is being labeled, being harassed. He summons each of us to see His face in every soul that is being insulted or hurt. And He calls us today to see His face in every human being who is facing exclusion, even deportation. Those with the Lucy faith are too fearful to step up against cultural norms. But those with the Linus faith hear the calling voice of Christ and make ready. Love is the lesson. Love is all that counts. Love is all that lasts. Mark Twain. Do you know who Mark Twain is?
Yes.
Don't you love how he manages to put it in a nutshell? Here's his nutshell in the Bible. It's not what I don't understand about the Bible that bothers me. It's what I do understand. I think we understand this lesson today, and may God grant us courage when we come to truly understand the gospel message, because it will oblige us to hold ourselves accountable for this understanding, and God will be praised for it. Thanks be to God.